Okay, so we've seen the Chemino meme version of the Lowell friends. But what if I told you they had another version where they were human testing victims? Unexpected, right? Well, it's true. They were used for human testing at a secret laboratory, having this scientist as their caretaker. This version is one of my favorites, yet there's a lot to say about it. So I'll try to just focus on the most important things and ignore some fillers. The human testing victims are taken to the laboratory at young ages. They're given a random number between 0 and 900 to be distinguished from other victims, and are used like lab rats by scientists who test different substances on them. The substances are made to give them mutations that affect their appearance and abilities. Once a victim is taken there, they can never go back outside. After those substances are injected in the victim, the changes they go through will classify them as either common, high common, demi-rare, rare, high rare, and in some cases unknown. To explain how these categories are given to the victims, I'll use the Lowell friends to give examples. Let's start with Mary, since she has the lowest and least dangerous category between the main 5. High common. When a victim has the substances injected in them, it not only affects their appearance, it also gives them supernatural abilities that give them their category depending on how dangerous they are. Mary's power is to create stars with her hands and create a bubble shield out of stardust. But she can also make the stars she creates shine very brightly. If the light is too bright, it can cause confusion, hallucinations, and color blindness if you stare at it for too long. So, since none of those things are fatal, and since her strength percentage isn't that high compared to other victims, she's classified as a high common creature. Now, let's talk about her mutations a little. We can see that her eyes have bright star-shaped pupils. They have a function apart from letting her see. They're there to protect her eyes from the light of her stars if it gets too bright. That way, she doesn't get affected by her own power. The marks on her face and leg don't have a function though. Neither do her halos. See the barcode-looking thing on her cheek? That's the number on her face that distinguishes her from other victims. About her ears, they're pretty big, aren't they? No offense to you, Mary. Anyway, because of their size, her hearing is more sensitive than a normal person's. So, since she gets scared easily in this universe, she often creates a bubble shield around her when there are very loud noises near her. As we can see, she has a tiny tail. The smaller the tail is, the harder it'll be for the victim to learn how to move it on command. I'm pretty sure that's all we gotta say about Mary. So let's move on to someone else. Now with Zach. He's a demi-rare one. It took a while for the scientists to figure out what his power was, but after a long time, they figured out he could use hypnosis and cry star tears. Those star tears can only come out from his left eye with the star pupil. And just like Mary, the star is there with the purpose of protecting his vision, since the star tears are very bright. Zach has caused the scientists many doubts about his danger percentage. It's normally at 42 most of the time, but as soon as something gets him annoyed enough, it rises up to 87. So, after a lot of tests and experiences, they concluded that his average danger percentage is 42, but mainly unstable. His antennas, tail, and dripping ears don't actually have a purpose. They're just results of failed mutations. But he has a star mark on his forehead. It's just covered by his bangs. Hold on. There it is. The star helps him with the hypnosis. See the objects he has? The necklace and cat plush? You must be wondering where they came from since no one can go outside. This part has many details, so pay attention. The scientists are taken to the lab from 10 to 13 years old, when they're not fully aware of what's going on, but can assimilate and learn things quickly. They are given gifts such as stuffed animals, video games, simple jewelry, videotapes with cartoons, and so on, to make them feel comfortable with the place and distract them from the inescapable prison they've been taken to. When the scientists grow old, some objects are given to human testing victims, others are given to new apprentice scientists. Now it gets a bit more complicated. When the scientists do all the tests they can on a patient, they execute them and the objects they're given stay in their room. When the corpse is taken away and the cleanup is being done, the scientist lady we saw earlier puts them in a box and brings them to a playroom Lowell friends are kept in for being different from other victims. In one of those boxes, Kay found the stuff Zach is carrying and gave it to him. One for no reason and the other one on what they thought was his birthday. They don't know their birthdays because when they're taken to the lab, they are exposed to a gas that erases most memories they have. They only remember how to write, read, count, and other basic things. That's all we gotta say about the objects. Back to Zach. Those veiny things on his arms are veins that helps him with hypnosis. The scars and bruises on his legs came from trying to defend himself from scientists. He couldn't quite get the job done, let's say. His cat plush is named Luca, by the way. That's not important, but I wanted to share it anyway. Guess that's all for Zach. Let's move on. Kat's turn. She's also demi-rare, but she's a higher type of demi-rare compared to Zach. Kat is quite similar to Zach, but not totally. Her powers are different. Kat has Cupid hypnosis, which means she can hypnotize people by making them fall deeply in love with her. She can also make stardust fall from her wings when she flaps them. She can't fly though. Her wings are too small to lift her up. Her level is higher than Zach because she has more strength than him and doesn't hold back if there's a menace nearby. Plus, her claws can get very sharp and a single scratch can go very deep. But she's not the most dangerous one. Her heart-shaped pupils and the vein on her face allow her to use Cupid hypnosis. About the fang coming out of her mouth, that happened by accident. While some scientists were preparing a substance to inject in her, they accidentally put some sort of wild animal DNA in it and no one noticed it until she got tested to double-check her powers. No one knew what animal's DNA it is, since she can run really fast all on fours like many animals, but she purrs like a feline and bites or behaves like a dog sometimes. Little curiosity, after Kat got taken to the lab, she never cut her hair until it was literally touching the floor. Then, she asked the scientist's lady we saw earlier to chop her hair short and give it to a little girl with alopecia she saw in the halls once. Also, remember the objects thing? Kat found a jacket in one of the boxes. It was bloody, but she still wore as if the stains were meant to be there. There's actually nothing else to say about her. Next. Now Abby, the second most dangerous one of the main five. She's a rare one. Abby is very grumpy in this universe and barely even smiles. She has a very high level of strength, to the point she can break wood or iron with her bare hands or feet. She can also transform any object she wants in a gem version of itself. The liquid inside her horns helps her transform objects and even human beings in gem. Her eyes look like that because of a failed experiment. See the crystals coming out from the sides of her head? They're replacing her ears. The necklace she has was also found in one of the boxes. The collar wasn't, though. Any victim with a very high level of strength and deadly powers like Abby is given a shock collar that can only be removed by a scientist. If the victim tries to attack, they shock them. If they don't follow orders, they're shocked. If they talk back too much, they're shocked. They're neglected without meaning to hurt anyone, most of the time. Abby is more serious and moody than the others cause she goes through too many tests, painful mutations and injections, many and more painful than others. Her hands and feet are red and bruised from all the hard things she's forced to kick with nothing protecting her. Her foot has that danger tape, so scientists always keep an eye on her. Oh, I forgot. Abby has a lot of speed. Next. Before we start with Kay, his wings are there on accident. But anyway, Kay is the most dangerous one, to the point his category is unknown. He was given too many injections and went through too many mutations. He has a literal death stare on his black eye. His tail is living demonic creature that can rip someone's limbs apart with one bite. He can create thunders and electricity with his hands, and he already has a lot of physical strength. So yeah, he's a menace to society. The scar over his eye was made by a scientist. You can see he has a shock collar too. Under the collar, there's a scar. Kay was once tied up by the neck and legs with rope for 2 days for being too dangerous and because the scientists wanted to test his blood, and when got near him, he'd electrocute them. He killed a few ones with his black eye. The The scars on his legs are also from the rope. Remember how he creates electricity with his hands? The second tail he has works as a charger for that. He sleeps with it connected to an outlet. By the way, his monster tail is named Arlo. Last character, the scientist lady. Her name is Hilda. She's the caretaker of the main five. She didn't have those dragon wings and tail when she was born, but she isn't a victim of human testing either. She did it to herself so Kay didn't have through another painful mutation. She looks at all of the main five as her children and always told them that one day she'd get them out of that place. Hilda has boyfriend. His name is Jeremy. That's Jeremy. They're 23 and Hilda is 25. As you can see, they were took an injection to save one of the main five. This time, it was Abby. The five don't trust them much, because they believed for basically all their lives that Hilda was the only nice scientist there. But Jeremy is a really nice person, and yes, they're bottom. At least someone must have questioned themselves if they were. Oh, I forgot. Kat has a piggy. Her name is Ham. She loves ham, but she stopped eating ham after Jeremy gave her the piglet. I think that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Now I'm going to finally have some decent sleep since spring break started.